Hello everyone and welcome to Xiao Hey Classroom. In this section, we introduce the communication operation of simple series PLCH312 as ModbusTCP Master Station. There are two implementation methods. One is implemented through the wizard, and the other is implemented through the ModbusTCP Master library. Then let's first demonstrate a configuration of the ModbusTCP Master through the wizard. So let's open up this wizard interface. Here we can see that there is a ModbusTCP wizard. Double-click it to open the ModbusTCP wizard configuration interface. Then in the pop-up window that pops up, you can configure parameter reading and writing. At most, you can establish 128 independent reading and writing operations. Then we can increase or decrease the number of reads and writes you need to configure here. Currently, 3 read and write operations are configured, and then we click Next. Then you can modify the name of the subroutine generated by the wizard. Then click Next. On this interface, read and write operations can be configured, and the type can be selected to read or write. Then you can set the number of reads and writes here, up to 120 words for a single data transmission. On the right is the Internet Protocol address and port number of the slave station. This demonstration uses H312 to communicate with the debugging assistant on the computer. So the slave address set here is the IP of the local network interface card of the computer, and then the port number is 502. When our slave is a device with a serial port to a network port, we need to write the station address of the slave to the application unit. If there is no station address, we can directly ignore it here. Below is the configuration of the slave station parameter address and the master station data storage address. The current configuration is to read the data of the slave station holding registers 40,001 and 40,002 and put them in VWO and VW2 of the master station. Then click Next to proceed to the next read and write configuration. The configuration here is to write the data of the master station VW0 and VW2 to the 40003 and 40,000 for addresses of the slave station. Then click the next item to configure. This item is configured to read data from slave stations 40,005 and 40, 6 into 4 VW4 and VW6 of the master station. Then on the IP side of the slave, if different slaves are connected, the IP and port can be distinguished when configuring the read and write items, and several slaves will generate several subroutines, which need to be called all when using them. After the configuration is completed, click Next, and then enter an address range for the wizard to work normally. The address here can no longer be used in the program, otherwise it will affect the normal work of the wizard. Then click Next. An FC subroutine will be generated here, and then click Finish. Here we can see that the FC block is generated here. We can call it directly in the main program. Then I have already called it here. Just make a call directly with some 0.0. Then the pin definition of the function block can be viewed at its definition. You can view the description of the meaning of the pin above, such as timeout setting range and completion bit, error, and bigint. You can check it through this place. Then you can also view the content of the read and write items just configured in the wizard below. 2 read operations and 1 write operation. Read the VW0 and VW2 of the slave station 40,001 to 40,002 to the master station. Then the master station writes the read data to the slave station 40,003 and 40,004. And then reads the slave station 40,003 and 40,004 to the master station VW4 and VW6 inside. Let's download this program directly to see the effect. Then open the Debugging Assistant. Select the holding register area and click OK to connect. Select ModbusTCP Protocol, port 502. The master station directly uses the status table to monitor the data transmission. You can see that the reading and writing of leader follower station data has been completed. In this way, we can implement a communication operation of H312 as a ModbusTCP Master through the wizard. Then let's take a look at using library instructions to implement an operation of the ModbusTCP Master. The library instruction program is written in FC1. Let's open it directly and take a look. Under the library in the lower left corner, expand the communication class, and you can find the ModbusTCP Master library. There is only one instruction in it. So we use this instruction to realize Modbus communication. Let's first look at the pin meaning of this command. Here we can see what the pin says. Pin run triggers a read and write operation for each rising edge signal. Pin CM index needs each read and write block to be different. Then the following are the Internet Protocol addresses of my corresponding slaves. Then down below are the read and write type settings. 0 is the read operation. 1 is the write operation. Set the parameter address of the slave here, such as hold register area for 0001. Then you can set the read and write length below, up to 120 words. Then further down is the storage address of the read and write data in the master station, such as reading the holding register 40,001 of the slave station. Which address of the master station should the read data be placed at? It is set through this side. Below is the complete bit, the activation bit, and the BigInt bit. Let's take a look at the writing of this specific program. It is the same as what was configured in the wizard just now. Set the slave IP, read and write type parameter address, read and write number, and master data pointer address. Set here to read slaves 40,001 and 40,000 to placed in VW2000 and VW2002 of the master station. This is a write operation that writes the data in the master station VW2000 and VW2002 to 4003 and for 0004. The following is to read the data of slave stations 40,005 and 40. 6 in VW2004 and VW2006 of the master station. If you use library instructions, multiple read and write instructions need to be pulled for triggering. Here, the completion bit of the instruction is used as the trigger bit of the next block to achieve polling triggering. Then the initial trigger condition is judged according to the value of VW1000. The following subroutine is called. Download the program below to see the effect of using library instructions to achieve communication. Here you can see that these read and write blocks have been triggered by polling. Then open the Debugging Assistant and monitor it directly in the PLC status table. You can see that the data has been transmitted. Then H312 uses library instructions as the communication function of the ModbusTCP Master station to achieve. That's all. Thanks for watching.